This is TV18 and you're watching CNBC TV18.
Brought to you by HSBC Commercial Banking.
Focus, ideate, innovate, enable.
When I look at the names of Indian businessmen dominating the corporate world, there emerges a certain pattern. To a large extent, this list is dominated by certain communities or regions. Thus, you have Marwaris, Gujaratis, Parsis and Punjabis topping the list. People from other communities, say Maharashtrians or South Indians, are far and few between. You certainly wonder what could be the reasons. But there are exceptions, some exceptional exceptions from Maharashtra. I am referring to famous surnames like Kirloskars, Garwares, Kalyanis, Dandekars. These businessmen have not only made Maharashtra proud, but also the country with a significant contribution in all spheres of economic activities. And the person who stands tall among these businessmen is Baba Kalyani, the hero of this week's episode. Kalyani spearheads Bharat Forge, which is a part of $2.5 billion Kalyani Group. Baba Kalyani is very proud of his Maharashtrian root, so much so his corporate headquarters is Pune. He is a Puneri, as they say. To cut a long story short, he has single-handedly grown Bharat Forge to a world-class company in the forging space that has ensured global marquee brand becoming its loyal customers. In its 53-year history, the company has gone through several inflection points. Take a look at Bharat Forge story and you'll know how to seek opportunities in adversity.
He is the quintessential shop floor man who keeps pushing the envelope, logging 15 hours a day and traveling 20 days a month. That, for a man who's pushing 65, raises many eyebrows. At that age, people retire and take it easy. But not Baba Kalyani. Business seems to be his passion, his first love, and it shows. In 4 decades, Baba Kalyani has grown the Kalyani Group's turnover from 3 crore rupees in 1973 to 16,000 crore rupees in 2014, and in the process has made Bharat Forge a force to reckon with globally. So much so that every second heavy truck produced in the USA says made by Bharat Forge India, front axle beam. Bharat Forge is a leading global automotive forging player catering to virtually every global automotive OEM and Tier 1 suppliers through its 8 manufacturing plants located in India, Germany and Sweden. Marquee brands like Daimler Chrysler, Toyota, BMW, Ford, Volkswagen, Audi and others source their complex forging requirements including machined crankshafts, front axle beams and steering knuckles from Bharat Forge.
Bharat Forge has this uncanny ability to understand the customer's requirements very well and then translate that into a solution. I remember when I met with Baba Kalyani's Saab a long time ago, they were working on one particular thing and he gave me the incidents where they had understood a customer's requirement and the customer was expecting that in a limited period of time Bharat Forge would come back and give them a drawing. But Bharat Forge actually sent a prototype part. That's how fast Bharat Forge was able to react, and that really sort of shocked the customer in Europe that a company in India can react so well. So what Bharat Forge has done is actually create this new paradigm about Indian suppliers, from what used to be that not only you won't get what you have asked for, but whatever you get will be very delayed and you will get it in poor quality, has been completely transformed by Bharat Forge, saying that you will get it much faster than any European guy can make it, you will get it at a much better cost and you will get it at much better quality. And I think that has been the cornerstone of success for Bharat Forge over and over and over.
This easy global acceptance has been possible because Baba Kalyani has transformed the company from being a mere supplier of components to becoming a preferred technology and engineering-driven development partner for all his clients. and this strategy reflects in its financials. For the year ended March 2014, its turnover grew by 30% to 6,841 crore rupees from 5,279 crore rupees in FY13, while the net profit has doubled to 499 crore rupees from 248 crore rupees during the same period. Enthused by this consistent year-on-year performance, brokerage houses have put buy recommendations. The result, Bharat Forge's share price has appreciated by 4 times in the last 18 months, from 203 rupees in April 2013 to 811 rupees in October 2014. What has also boosted the company's financials is its de-risking strategy, says Amit Kalyani, the group's heir apparent.
We are building layers to our business. On top of the automotive layer, which itself has 3 verticals in it. You got CVs, you got pass cars, and you got within that also you've got powertrain, you have chassis, and you have aluminum. So you look at that breadth. Then on top of that you add machining, you add value addition, and then you add the entire non-automotive or industrial segments, which we broadly classify into 5 sectors. But those 5 sectors itself have huge potential. So what we've said is initially we want to target a 100 million per sector kind of run rate, and then we can further expand horizontally and vertically within each sector.
Currently, 66% of its turnover comes from overseas, with the domestic market contributing 34%. Again, of its total turnover, 59% comes from the automotive business, while the balance 41% comes from non-automotive businesses comprising 5 focused areas: oil and gas, rail and marine, construction and mining, power and aerospace. Well, today the company has won its well-deserved place under the sun, but the road to success for this homespun company has not been smooth. To hark back in time, Baba Kalyani was born in 1949 in a sleepy little village near Karad in Maharashtra to Sulochna and Neelkant Kalyani. He was the eldest of the 3 children family. His grandfather was a turmeric king, while his father ran a successful sugarcane farming business from his 40-acre land. But on the advice of family friend S.L. Kirloskar, Neelkant Kalyani set up Bharat Forge in 1961 to supply forging power to Kirloskar oil engines. Baba Kalyani was bright in his studies, so after passing out from King George School in Belgaum, he did his BE from BITS Pilani and then went on to acquire his master's from MIT. On his return from the US, he joined the family business in 1972. In 1973, he moved to the shop floor, and within a year, Baba proved his mettle. The company's turnover doubled to 6 crore rupees in 1974 and kept doubling over the next 25 years while catering to customers like Tata Motors, Mahindra & Mahindra, Ashok Leyland and Kirloskar oil engines. By the mid-80s, Bharat Forge had become a domestic leader. Interestingly, the company has gone through several inflection points in its 53-year history to emerge taller. In 1985-86, during Rajiv Gandhi's era, Japanese auto giants entered India in a big way. This proved to be a boon to Bharat Forge as it bagged orders to make front axle beams for Mitsubishi Motors Japan. This annual export of 15,000 axles emboldened Baba Kalyani to think big. He set up a spanky new plant next to his existing unit in Pune and employed qualified engineers. Effectively, the 16,000 metric ton press line bridged the technology gap of 25 years. As luck would have it, a lot of forging units in the US were shutting down, and in the process Bharat Forge got regular business from Rockwell to supply front axle beams. By 1995-96, the company was going great guns. During this time, Tata Motors asked all its suppliers to double its capacity, but a slowdown in 1997 hit the auto sector hard. The result, Bharat Forge was forced to run its plant 3 days a week. The huge investment and inventory pile-up forced Kalyani to devise an export strategy by intensely focusing on North America, Europe and Asia. This strategy changed the company's performance, profitability and culture. This was the first inflection point. The second inflection point was in 2001, when it acquired the order book of Dana UK for £3 million. This acquisition gave Bharat Forge £10 million of business for 7 years and kept its Pune plant busy. Dana was the first step towards Bharat Forge becoming a global company. The third inflection point was when Baba Kalyani decided to become a global player instead of restricting only to exports. And this strategy saw the company making a spate of acquisitions. In 2003, it acquired CDP of Germany, which was best known in the chassis business. Then it acquired Imatra Kilstar of Sweden. In 2005, it picked a stake in a forging plant in China but divested its stake completely in 2013 for $28 million. Customer acquisition and technology was the main benefit of its overseas acquisitions. The going was good, but in 2008, the collapse of Lehman Brothers in the US had a ripple effect. Companies worldwide lost 70% of their top line for a quarter. Bharat Forge's capacity utilization fell to 30% by 2009. The result? The company reported a loss of 81 crore rupees on a turnover of 3,417 crore rupees in FY10. To avoid such recurrences, the company has entered 5 new areas, and by March 2011, the company was in the black. Time and again, Baba Kalyani has demonstrated his managerial skill and technical prowess in steering the company to new heights. The mission now is to increase the content per vehicle by developing new products. On that note, time for a short break. When we come back, we talk to Baba Kalyani, the moving force behind Bharat Forge. Also joining us on the show will be Sandeep Uppal of HSBC. Stay tuned.
The Ed Sullivan Show.
With the Beatles, John Lennon, George Harrison, Paul McCartney, Ringo Starr.
A special tribute to the Beatles. The night that changed America. A Grammy salute to the Beatles. 11th October, 10 p.m.
Let's football! Let's football!
हीरो इंडियन सुपर लीग 12 अक्टूबर से हर शाम 6:50 पर.
What do you do after you make the world's most loved car? You surpass it. Here we are. Introducing the all-new Corolla Altis. The all-new Corolla Altis. The new benchmark.
मास्टरप्रेन्योर जैसे प्लेटफॉर्म बहुत ही मुख्य हैं क्योंकि सोशल एंटरप्रेन्योर्स अपना काम करते रहते हैं, उनको सपोर्ट नहीं मिलती, उनको रिकॉग्निशन नहीं मिलता है और हमें खोज है ऐसे एंटरप्रेन्योर्स की ताकि हम उनको फंडिंग दे सकें, उनको सपोर्ट दे सकें. मास्टरप्रेन्योर जैसे प्लेटफॉर्म से हमें वो सोशल एंटरप्रेन्योर्स मिलेंगे जो अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं और हम उनको सपोर्ट दे पाएंगे.
As the auto industry gears up to rev up the economy, discover the latest trends in lightweighting at the 3rd edition of Auto Ancillary Show 2014, October 10th till 13th, Auto Cluster Exhibition Complex, PCMC Pune. Seminars on lightweighting on 10th October, 12 p.m. onwards.
I love cars and I test them to the very limit and sometimes beyond.
I have your weekly dose of news, analysis and exclusive happenings in the automotive sector.
I've tested every motorcycle launched in India for the past 13 years. I help you make the right buying decision.
I am Overdrive.
I am Overdrive.
I am Overdrive.
Servo presents Overdrive at these times.
Drive, presented by Servo, Add Life, in association with JK Tire and Lloyd LED TV.
Welcome back. He lives, breathes and thinks forging 24/7. So much so, all diversification of Bharat Forge have been in sync with its forging business. Stick to knitting, as they say. I caught up with 65-year-old Baba Kalyani, CMD of Bharat Forge, at his well-appointed office in Pune to find out why is Bharat Forge a global force to reckon with. This is what he has to say. Take a look. Mr. Kalyani, Sandeep, welcome to the show. Mr. Kalyani, if I may begin by asking you, if I look at the company's financial between 2009 and 2014, I've seen the company has gone through a very rough patch. There were Lehman Brothers crisis in 2008,
right.
Slowdown in 2012. But today, the stock market has given a thumbs up to your shares. All brokerage houses are recommending your stock very strongly.
Right.
So could you tell us what kind of actions you have taken in these years to fundamentally change the company? Could you spell out those actions?
Early 2008, when it dawned upon us that just being in the automotive business and largely related to the commercial vehicle business in the automotive sector, but diversified geographically in terms of supplying into North America, supplying into Europe, supplying into Asia, protected us till then from a lot of cyclicity of the markets, because all the three continents didn't go down together.
Okay.
The timing of the cycle was very different. So it was a highly predictive type of a process. And then came the financial collapse, and then kind of everything changed. So 2008, we decided that this was not enough, and we needed to have a much broader market.
Okay.
Based on technology and knowledge that we have of our business. So we didn't move away from the forging or from the metals related business.
Yeah.
But we used the technology that we had developed in that, the capability that we had created in terms of people, in terms of knowledge, to get into a whole host of areas in the industrial sector.
Okay.
And we identified in 2008 4 to 5 verticals. One of them was the energy sector. That means producing equipments for people who manufacture power plants. All this required large forged components,
okay.
Different than automotive. Then we looked at the oil and gas sector. We found that very promising, so we got into that. Then we got into transportation, other than road transportation, which was largely railways and marine, producing large components for locomotives, large components for ships that transport products. And then we looked at construction and mining and aerospace. We said once we do these 4, then we will start looking at aerospace. And to make this happen, we created 2 manufacturing footprints. One was in Pune, where we make very large forgings, and one in Baramati, which we call as our Center of Advanced Manufacturing.
Your vision kind of dovetails with the government focus also in manufacturing, in infrastructure and defense. So that also gives you a bigger push, you feel, for the industry?
Yeah, we are ready.
Or you're ahead of the curve?
We are way ahead of the curve. I think in our business it would be boasting, but I would say that we are at least 10 years ahead of the curve in terms of technology, in terms of capability, in terms of hardware, actual hardware. Because this is a highly capital intensive industry. It's not easy. It's not just capital intensive, but it's also technology intensive. So you need a huge, you need a lot of talent.
Yeah. So Bharat Forge has created a talent pool. You have set up a separate institute to...
Bharat Forge has within its organization something we internally call a talent factory.
Okay.
We started this exercise 14 years ago with our first program, which was how do we convert our employees who are not engineers into engineers. I mean, there are many employees here who have been working with us for 10 years, 15 years, had acquired a lot of skills and knowledge, but they were not engineers. They just didn't have the basics of engineering. So we went to Birla Institute of Technology in Pilani, which is my alma mater.
Yeah, alma mater, yeah.
And I requested them, can they start a program, 3-year program here for my employees, only for my employees. And they agreed. And this is the 14th year we are running this program. Every year we graduate roughly about 40 to 45 of our employees.
The other thing I want to again revisit it. When I look at your company over the last 5 decades, there have been several inflection points. In each of the inflection points, you have used that opportunity to grow bigger. Could you walk us through what made you do that? And recently, you're de-risking your model now by going to 5 critical new areas.
You're right. This has been largely triggered by events that created difficulty in our businesses. So the first inflection point was in the 80s when we had the first major recession. In those days, Bharat Forge had 4 customers, each one contributing 25 to 30% of our revenue.
Okay.
And I mean, they were the auto companies in India. And if any one of them had a problem, or if we lost business with, any one of them, we were in great difficulty. So when that downturn came in the mid-80s, we decided that the only way we can broaden our market was export.
Okay.
So that started our first export drive. So that was the first point of inflection. It wasn't easy because we had conventional technology. We were a typical Indian company with a business model of low technology, a lot of people, unskilled manpower, low capital investment, and therefore on the face of it, everybody thought you could compete because everybody thought cheap labor means compete.
Yeah.
But we just couldn't compete. We were unable to compete. And that created the second inflection point in 1989, 1990, when we said, we can't work like this. We need to have very high technology. We need to have highly skilled people. So we did our first major investment in automation. We gave voluntary retirement to 2,000 employees. And for 2,000 employees, we hired 600 engineers.
Oh.
That was our second inflection point, and that kind of just took us on the export curve very rapidly. First in North America, then in Europe, then in China. And then when we became so successful on exports, we said, why not try to be a global leader in this business? To be a global leader, it was clear that you needed to have operations in different geographies, or at least the important geographies where the markets were.
Okay.
And that was largely Europe, North America, and China. And that's where we did our acquisition. So the result was that from 2000 to 2008, we grew in 8 years 10 times. From 100 million, we went to 1.2 billion in 8 years.
Okay. What makes Bharat Forge unique that all the marquee brands come to you?
We are very customer centric. We will bend backwards as a company to do whatever our customer wants us to do. Whether that means invest in capacity, that means invest in technology, manufacture products in other parts of the world, in other geographies. So we are highly customer centric.
What does the banker feel?
Over the last 5 decades, what we really admire of the company is that it's built very strong core competencies around metals, forging, and solutions. And once you build a competence of that and you build scale, then it's like, I would compare it to an aircraft carrier. You can take it in any direction. And I think that's where the debates happen, because you can take it towards non-auto, you can get into geographical diversification. And I think one thing which comes out very clearly from the geographical diversification perspective is that, as we discussed earlier, 3 key markets, if we can take US, Europe, and India. Clearly Europe is soft, but from a company's perspective, US is coming back very, very strongly. India is now coming back strongly.
Yeah.
So again, those are the opportunities that keeps throwing up. And again, it can keep going back because of the energy cost into even production back in the US. So I think having built up that competency and scale, the opportunities are immense. And I'm sure these debates within the top management will continue because so many things to go after.
So when you look back from a 3 crore company to 16,000 crore company, what made the success possible? If you were to highlight 3 or 4 things.
We all have basic values, and I think one thing about Indians in general, if you somehow can trigger that little sense of pride in wanting to do something, I think it generates a lot of energy. And if anything else, in the early days, in the late 90s, mid 90s to late 90s, I think I was able to generate this power in our company with our people. And the rest was just history. It just happened.
So final question, what is the advice you would give budding entrepreneurs who want to start a business today? The do's and don'ts of the business.
A simple piece of advice. Just do what your heart tells you. Don't worry.
Okay, Mr. Thanks a lot for talking. It's a pleasure talking to you. Thanks, Sandeep. Pleasure. Well, that was Baba Kalyani talking with a lot of pride. These are the mantras he implemented to build Bharat Forge. Focus on talents. Bharat Forge has created Talents Factory, which is linked to BITS Pilani. Adopt de-risking model as much as possible. Convert adversity into opportunities. The company used slowdown to modernize, trim costs, and develop new products. Be ahead of the curve in all aspects. Bharat Forge is 10 years ahead in its product and application. Finally, instill a sense of pride among employees. This, Baba Kalyani feels, will generate positive energy. Well, interesting mantras. To my mind, when a promoter spends a good part of his time on the shop floor, it is bound to motivate the workforce to excel by producing world-class products. Like an able commander, Baba Kalyani has led the company from the front, and the results are evident. On that note, it is time to say goodbye. Keep watching CNBC TV 18 for such interesting episodes.
Focus. Ideate. Innovate. Enable.
Brought to you by HSBC Commercial Banking.